You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Here we go. Welcome to the GrantCast. My name is Grant Baciocco, and it is a pleasure to have you here today listening to the show. I haven't done a GrantCast in a couple weeks. I know. I was trying to do one a week for 52 weeks, and I totally dropped the ball. There was a little bit of travel involved there and other things. But you know who you have to thank for the return of the GrantCast is my editor, Stephen Staver, because Stephen kept sending me messages going, if you do a GrantCast, I can get it edited and I can put it out. And so he said that to me, I think, yesterday. I'm recording this on March 14th, and I think he said that yesterday or this morning. And so anyway, thank you, Stephen. Here is an episode of the GrantCast. I did not get COVID. I realized that in the last episode, I said that I thought I was getting COVID again, and then you didn't hear from me. I didn't get COVID. Or at least I just never tested positive, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I had, there were some Puppet Up shows that were going on, and then I went out to Florida to see John, so there was some travel and stuff in there. I had a great time going out to see John. I got to see John play piano for an improv theater out there called SAK, S-A-K, Comedy Theater, and John often plays keyboards for them out there. And it was a fun 2 shows. It's interesting seeing improv styles that are different from what you do, because there was a lot that was the same, and then there was a lot that was different. The big difference is, and I'm just going to call this I guess it's the Groundling style of improv, but I learned from Patrick Bristow, who's from the Groundlings. But I am so used to, at the beginning of a scene, the host will get a suggestion from the audience. Where do these 2 work? Starbucks. Okay, let's see a scene from Starbucks. Everybody applaud. And people clap, and that's how you get into the scene. The way that the SAK Comedy Theater gets into the scene is they say, all right, the suggestion is Starbucks, and we are going to see it in 5, 4, 3, and the lights black out, 2, 1, and then it comes up, but there's no applause at the beginning. So I sat through 2 shows because John was performing in both shows, and at the beginning of every scene, I would lift my hands to start to clap and then realize, oh no, they don't clap here. But the cool thing was, at their theater, they had all these quotes on the wall from different improv teachers and stuff, and Patrick Bristow had a quote on the wall, so I thought that was a lot of fun. And then another update to the podcast from last time is I got my live stream feature back that I was bitching and moaning about. And the reason I found out that it was taken away from me is because this is, if you're just joining us now, with Toily, I live stream on TikTok. And they had a feature where they gave you what's called a stream key. And the stream key allows you to stream from your desktop computer directly to TikTok. And what's great about this is you can make fancier live streams. You can have commercials or, I don't know, scene changes and graphics and all this other stuff. Stuff you can't do if you're just streaming from your phone. So anyway, I had that, and I had it for a long time, and I would use it at least once a week. And then suddenly it was just gone. I didn't have it. I had the latest version of the app and everything, but they took it away from me. So I sent a request thing, and then I sent a request into TikTok, and then I said, I had this feature yesterday. I don't have it now. And the generic email reply I got was, yeah, not everybody has this feature. And it's like, yeah, but I had it, and you took it away from me. And then I was in a meeting with TikTok, and I had submitted the question, and they said, well, yes, we have that feature, but we're developing our own TikTok live stream software that users can install on their computers, and then they can stream directly to TikTok from that. And it's only available for PCs, and I use a Mac. And so I just said, yeah, I can't use this, and I don't want to use it because I have my own streaming software that I use. So give me my stream feature back. And they did. But now I'm really nervous about live streaming on TikTok because they have a new thing where it's like you can't mention other social media platforms during your live streams. And if you do, you might possibly get a strike against you and get your live stream banned and your feature taken away from you. And so I brought that up in the meeting, and they were like, "Oh no, that's not true. You can mention other things." Well, the woman who was leading the meeting goes, "Well, I mean, you can mention them. You just can't say, go follow me on Instagram, go follow me on wherever, Facebook, on Twitter. You can't say that, but you can say Instagram, and you can mention them." And so it's like, oh, so we can't mention them because why else would we be saying them unless we were telling them to go follow us. So anyway, it's been an interesting, a little bit frustrating couple of weeks in terms of live streaming / content creation, whatever you want to call it, with Toily and the like. I was trying to figure out how Toily could take live calls. Like, what's the best way he could take live calls? And I tried all these different things, and like one live stream, the people could hear Toily, but the caller could hear Toily, but Toily couldn't hear the caller. And then I spent like hours after that live stream trying to fix it all, and then it was vice versa. So Toily could hear the caller, but the caller couldn't hear Toily. So anyway, and the other thing was, and I think I talked about this, is like people are very secretive with how it's done. So I finally tracked down a way I think a lot of people do it, and I tried it and it worked, and I was so happy. But like seriously, the couple weeks leading up to that was such a headache. And there's this community, there's this streaming software I use, which I'm not going to say their name because I'm going to kind of talk about their community right now. But the community around this streaming software has a very singular way of doing things, and their way is the best way. And if you suggest anything else, you're wrong, and that should never happen. And one of the things I was suggesting is, when I use this streaming software, John will stream from his house in Orlando to my computer here, and then I will sort of put Toily in the picture so it looks like Toily and John are together, even though Toily, of course, is in California and John is in Orlando. I commented in this group for this streaming software, I said, it would just be great if we could boost the audio of our interview guests. And we could just tweak the incoming audio just a little bit so that we could make it a little bit louder and a little bit better. And all these people are like, why do you want to make this video streaming software into an audio processor? And I was like, I don't. I just want to be able to boost the volume because the mic that John uses when he streams, well, he should just buy a new mic. Well, we don't have the money for him to buy a new mic. Well, he should just do this, and you should reroute the sound through this. And it's like, okay, but this is a feature of the software. And this isn't, I should say, if it somehow comes out what the name of the software is, this isn't the people who work for the company. This is a company-sponsored Discord group and they have a channel that's like feature requests. What features would you like to see? And so I put that in there, and all of a sudden these people are like, I don't want to see this become an audio processing software, and it's going to hamper everything. And I go, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they have this interview feature. You should be able to tweak the sound a little bit. It's very frustrating. And that was all part of this week of 2 weeks of trying to figure out how to do these dang call-ins. And then it got me thinking the other day, and this is kind of the main idea of this podcast, is maybe the next thing is the one. That's what I have written here. Maybe the next thing is the one. And what I mean about that is back in 2004, when I started podcasting with the radio ventures of Dr. Floyd, and we got a lot of listeners, and we still have a lot of listeners, but we got a lot of listeners, and it was kind of like this thing like, yeah, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. We're going to make a TV show. This is going to be the answer to all of our dreams. And after a few years of working on it, it kind of petered out. There were creative differences between myself and the co-creator, and it wasn't going to go anywhere. We had our shot at TV. They passed on us. And then by the time they passed on us a year later, the people who were pitching us didn't want to pitch us anymore. So it just kind of petered out. So then not right after, but sometime after, I started doing Uncle Interloper on a social media service called Tout. I don't even know if Tout is still around. It might be, but it was sort of a precursor to Vine. And so I got on Tout and I started making short little videos on Tout, and then Uncle Interloper got, I don't know how many followers he had at the end, but it was like 500 followers. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is great, or however many followers he had. And the company loved him. And it was like, I was just creating all this stuff for Tout. And then Vine came out and I started putting Uncle Interloper on Vine. And, you know, when Vine finally went away, I think Uncle Interloper had 12 or 13,000 followers. But it went away, and, you know, but it was another thing where I was like, oh, this Uncle Interloper, this is it. This is the thing, and I'm going to start making YouTube videos and the Cartoon Doghouse and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of petered out and faded out. Flash forward, so the next thing is Toily, right? Toily. I was doing a little bit of Toily and Uncle Interloper right around the same time, but then it just became Toily, and all Toily all day. So now Toily has 3 million on TikTok and 236,000 on Instagram. And, you know, he's got all these followers and things have been going great. And he's actually producing an income where Uncle Interloper kind of never produced an income. But now I'm kind of in these points where, you know, I've only been doing the social media videos with Toily since 2019. But it's kind of getting to that thing where it's like, is this starting to peter out? And then the next thing will be the thing. The only problem is everything kind of overlapped. Dr. Floyd, Uncle Interloper, there was an overlap there. Uncle Interloper, Toily, there was an overlap there. But there's really nothing overlapping Toily right now. So I don't know. But it was just, I just started thinking about it. It's like, you know, as much as I want Toily to happen and I want Toily to have a TV show and I want Toily to do all this stuff, I am not sure if this is the thing. Maybe it's the next thing that is the one. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I wanted to give you a little update on how things were going. Hopefully, I will be back soon with another episode of the podcast. And I want to thank everybody for sticking around and staying subscribed. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. This episode of the GrantCast was edited by Stephen Staver, who probably did the artwork as well. This episode was made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month. Big shout out to all of our patrons, and a special shout out to our patron producers, Eve Cunning, Kathy Crawford, Andrew Calcagno, Tony Urbano, Brandy, David Akers, Paul, Scott Armstrong, and Vicky Sebring. Patrons at the behind-the-scenes level and above get access to a special video of the recording of this episode. If you'd like to become a patron and receive episodes of the GrantCast before they are released, visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly pledge today. And thank you for your support. This episode of the GrantCast is copyright 2023 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com. You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.